Hi, America. I have a question. My question's for Gary Gensler. Do you guys know who he is? I'll show you. That's Gary Gensler. How you doing, Mr. Clean? Now, the problem with Gary Gensler here is he's been on the job for 3 years, guys. He was appointed in 2021, right when everything was going on with the meme stock errors, everything that's going on, right? But right when he gets appointed, right here, April 17th, something started happening at a certain company called AMC. Now, at AMC, Adam Aron came out, their chairman of the board, their CEO, came out and started doing interviews on YouTube and Twitter, started manipulating shareholders into thinking that he was going to do the right thing for those shareholders. Okay. Now, before the AMC crowd comes over and they try to crucify me, say, Marantz, why are you picking on us again? I'm not picking on you. You guys got took. I get it. Adam Aron was allowed to pay his executives in shares. He was allowed to gift shares to his children. All this, all by the books, right? They all sold off at the top. They took their monies. And this guy asked no questions. You know that Gary Gensler was the chairman of the CTFC, the Commodities Future Trading Commission. And while he was there, he was rewriting the books for swaps. And he has all the rules in the world for swaps. But I have other questions, Gary. I have questions about what you did before that. Help me out. Oh, before I even tell you what it is, Gary, the questions I have, this is not a cookie cutter video. I do no edits, no cuts. This is a one-take session about private equity. I have a question for you, Gary. Now, I know you work for private equity, or you have in the past, but I ask, are you giving them a sweet spot, a soft spot on this market? Because hell, GameStop's being manipulated left and right. We just had this talk about FTDs, right? And you guys don't want to give out the answers. The SEC doesn't. So let me ask you a different question, sir, if you don't mind, okay? I was scrolling, dude. I was reading up on you again. I read you all the time, but the part that really triggered me here was this little line here. It says, Gary Gensler served on the board for the Profit University Strayer Education Inc. from 2001. Very specific about the year, 2001. So then I go over there and I go check them out. So it says between 2001, and just so that we're clear, it says right there, the Strategic Education Inc., which is going to be Strategic Education, is Strayer University, okay? The company owns for-profit online. All right, that's who they own. Now watch this, guys. 2001, you'll never believe it. 2001, right when you got there. 2005. The company main owners were New Mountain Capital and a private equity unit of Deutsche Bank. But yeah, we know BlackRock, T. Rowe Price, and Vanguard. But that one, New Mountain Capital, I know these guys. I've read this before. So when I go here to them, their owner and their main guys, right? All the main people, 1999, right when they form, all this good stuff. Where are they formerly out of? The company that leveraged RJR Nabisco. Now here, I'm gonna play dumb for you, okay? As they scroll down and you find out that they were bought out by Blackstone just a couple of years later. Mr. Gensler, bought out by Blackstone. You were there. Private equity. Doing deals with private equity is one thing. But I've already showed you. I've shown you guys 100 times over. They plant, they destroy, they move on, and they're allowed to do it. Why does everybody turn a blind eye? 9 months ago, I made a video about Big Lots. 9 months ago. And I said, they hired this new board of director. Yes, she's a chief restructuring officer. They're about to destroy this company. What do you think they did over the next 9 months? It's gone. They destroyed it. They tore it apart. Mr. Gensler, I ask you, why are they allowed to destroy these companies from inside out? Why don't they just let them fail on their own? No, they accelerate their demise because they have bets on it. Is this how it's done? Just selling asset from asset, carving out asset from asset. Pick them all. Pick Toys R Us. Pick Blockbuster. Pick Radio Shack. Sears. It doesn't matter. They've torn apart every company while you've been around writing new rules so they can do it. Now we're asking the right questions. Why aren't they delivering the shares? Like the free and transparent markets. You've been in charge for 3 years. I have a question. First day of the year right now, 2025. And my question is, why is it that you have direct relationships with private equity? And then, of course, when you're in charge, don't go after them. You know the vibe. Do you want to know what's crazy? That in 1994, if you don't know, 1990 to 94, in that range right there, there was a new TV contract that came out. Do you remember the TV contract for the NFL that you did for ESPN and Turner Broadcasting Sports? You know about TBS and ESPN? Well, first off, TBS and their partnerships with private equity, but I'll leave it there. You, Mr. Gensler, were in charge of the negotiating for the NFL. Who owns most of the NFL now? Private equity is allowed to own up 10% of each team, and teams like the Washington Commanders just got bought out by Josh Harris of Apollo Global Management, the same Josh Harris that hired Adam Aron from AMC as the president of the 76ers because he owns them too. That Josh Harris. How is it that it goes around in a circle right back to your front door? Oh, you don't think I connect dots? You don't think it really works? It works 100%. Go look at all the companies that have fallen to pieces. Go walk through the mall. Name all the companies that used to be there, and I'll show you a private equity firm that leveraged them and destroyed them. Then I'll show you the executives that all work for the same company. Isn't that wild? Maybe it's not. Maybe I'm too excited on the first day of the year. But I'm asking you, Mr. Gensler, you've worked for private equity directly. You negotiated deals, you allowed this to happen, and this is happening now. People are getting manipulated out of spots. Who's going to bring them up on charges? Why are we not charging AMC insiders for what they did to people? They were doing YouTube interviews, television interviews, going off and doing meet and greets in person, all to get them to buy their shares, these ape shares, additional preferred equity units. And when they sold them off, and they did a 10-to-1 reverse stock split and told everybody just eat it, it's yours. They took their equity from them. And if you don't know the story, man, you got to go hear it again. I'll tell it to you over and over. But I want to ask you the question. Why are you in the position you're in? If you're supposed to be the white knight, if you're supposed to be here for us, the crypto regulators, do you remember the NFL lobbying in 2022 to you about crypto? NFTs? Highlight films? I wonder why it's always to you. Why you're always in the mix. Your time's up. Your job's up in about 3 weeks, but you know what? It's not soon enough. You did nothing for us as a retail investor, and that should be investigated. You, Mr. Gensler, should be investigated. Peace.